So, do banks repossess houses? Yeah, they do. Could the bank repossess your house, your buy-to-let? Yeah, they could. It's a frightening thought, isn't it? Hey. So it's something you've got to take quite seriously. So the question is, could a bank repossess my buy-to-let? Yeah. They absolutely could. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen more times than I like, but there are some common causes to that. And we're going to explore that today. And then we're going to keep you safe as much as we can through the choices you're going to make in your property business. My name is Susannah Cole. If you're brand new to me, welcome. Lovely to have you here on my channel. And if you're one of my regulars, welcome back. Very nice to have you back with me. You probably know we've got tons of playlists for you guys. Have a look, all beautifully organized into like deal sourcing, packaging, raising finance, getting started, managing tenants, managing refurbs, all that good stuff for you on this channel. So remember to subscribe. And if you can like the video, that would be so helpful because it will really help other people find us as well. And we want people succeeding. Property helps you leave the 9 to 5. It helps you get to financial freedom. It helps you to run your life on your terms. And we want that. I want that for you. The other thing I would definitely suggest is hop onto my website. It's called The Good Property Company. Again, beautifully organized for you. I've put a lot of work into it. You can download checklists. You've got on-demand webinars. There are 60-day academies. Have a brilliant look at that website because it's there to really build your confidence, to keep you motivated, and to have you download the material you need so that you can succeed. You've got to get a little bit educated in this business to not make mistakes. So let's talk about how you can avoid the biggest mistake of all, getting repossessed, going back to worse than when you started. The bank's seizing your assets, you left with nothing but debts. I have seen it happen, people, and we do not want it happening to you. And I think this fear of that happening is probably the biggest reason why people don't get started, because they think, well, the risk is just too big. I just don't want to take that risk. But what's the alternative? You know, life until you're 67 working for somebody else? No, the risk is worth taking, but let's mitigate it. So what's the common cause that I've seen? And I've been in property a long time now. It's actually not owning it. It's actually asking that question, will the banks repossess me if the economy fails or if the market crashes? Yeah. The real question is not, will they do it to me? Do you see, I've got no responsibility here. It's got nothing to do with me. It's outside causes. I agree with you. Market crashing is outside causes. The real question is, what can I do to mitigate my risk to make sure that when, not if, there are difficult market circumstances, I am protected? So where can I own this? How can I take some steps in the early days, the middle days, and the kind of days that I'm at, in Barcelona, going to the beach every day? How can I make sure my position is protected when economies change and we face challenging circumstances? So it's about putting in that kind of change of behavior, that change of I own my response to these difficulties. And because property is like a big old liquid ship and it takes ages, to turn the corner, you need to almost put that in, that strategy, that thinking, that planning in early, not later. Let's cover them now. Because property is a dream worth taking some risks for, isn't it? Life on your terms, millionaire, 6-figure income, leaving the 9 to 5. It is worth doing. So the first risk is over leverage. That beautiful golden, the fact that leverage, meaning mortgages, meaning you can buy an asset mainly funded by a bank, is an extraordinary miracle that we have in the UK. And I am very grateful for it. But people push the fact that you should always stay leveraged. Debt is good, they say. They say there's good debt and bad debt. And to a degree, I agree, but I don't. I never want to be over leveraged, and I certainly don't want you to be over leveraged. And I controversially pay down houses. I've got many houses where I've got no mortgages, so that when an economy changes, I'm sitting tidy, I'm sitting pretty, okay? So the number one mistake people do is they are kind of addicted to borrowing, addicted to having a high loan to value. Now that's the risk you take in the early days, because of course you don't have the money to do anything else, but you need to be looking at that loan to value, and from day one, how can I chip against it? And there are a number of things you can do. You can run a flipping strategy at the same time as running a buy-to-let strategy. You can run a deal packaging strategy at the same time as running a buy-to-let strategy. Why do you think I did it? It was not because I wanted to flip and give away all these beautiful houses or package on to customers and give away all these amazing deals. It was because I needed to have cash coming in to pay down debt, to make sure there's a cash flow in my business so that I didn't run out of cash. Super important. So big rule is what loan to value, meaning how much of is the mortgage and how much is the house and what's the percentage of that, do you want to start off with? It's going to be between 75 and sometimes 85. I did 85%, didn't sleep. And then within 3 years, what loan to value do you want to be at? Is it 60%? And then within 5 years, what loan to value do you want to be at? Is it within 40%? And what second cash generating strategy are you going to bring in to pull that loan to value down? Don't get addicted to leverage. It's a fool's game, folks. Leaves you high and dry in difficult circumstances. Now, the second tip I've already mentioned, so I won't cover in great detail. Run a cash generating strategy alongside your buying asset strategy. So for me, it was flipping. For me, it was deal packaging. And when I flipped, I didn't flip with my own cash because that's no longer like well, it is cash generating, but it sucks up cash and then gives it back like a massive tidal wave. When I flipped, it was primarily with joint ventures. At one point, we had 30 on the go at the same time. And okay, on the downside, you only took 50% of the profit home. On the upside, you didn't put any of your own cash in. So it was a really good cash generating strategy alongside my asset owning strategy. So be very careful of cash flow, predict it out 18 months in advance. And yes, you're going to be like having problems. You're going to go, oh no, in 9 months time, it looks like it's going to be awful. You got 9 months to solve that problem. Yeah, it doesn't turn upon you tomorrow and you sat there going, I don't know what to do, frozen rabbit style. And then the third problem I see people doing is not owning is cash flow cock-ups. They could be your cock-ups, they could be somebody else's cock-ups. So like I said, number one, predict your cash flow 18 months in advance. I know it's a fairly extreme thing to do, but hey, I'm in business, aren't I? Ready? Number two, if you've got a rental portfolio, today is the 3rd of September at time of filming. Every single one of my tenants paid. They paid yesterday. I had a couple of little stragglers yesterday, cheeky little monkeys. They all paid. Be very, very boundaried on tenants who are paying late. Do not allow it. It simply is against the contract. It's simply not allowable. End of story. Very boundaried, non-emotional. Have processes to follow this. And then your internal management, put 10% aside every single month of the rent that comes in, we're talking about portfolio now, for repairs. You might not spend 10% this month, but you're going to spend 10% over the piece. It might be a massive big roof, you know? So in one is have your repairs and maintenance. And then put 15% aside for running cost. I mean, you know, your letting agent, your insurances, all of that kind of stuff. Yeah, in a different bank account. So there's your repair costs, there's your maintenance, which probably will go out every month, but for me it doesn't. I do tenant find, so I have big chunks going out on the months where I have new tenants coming in and out. Yeah, and then put your tax aside. How do you know your tax? Your accountant, your bookkeeper does it. So have your bookkeeper running your books every single week. So today is the 3rd of September. I can review my August books and my bookkeeper puts my tax aside every single month. If you're VAT registered, you may well not be, but just in case you are, put your VAT aside every single week. Those are sacrosanct, non-touchable pieces of bank account that you can't borrow from, although we've all done it in the early days because that's your tax, that's your VAT. And then make sure your tenant deposits are set aside as well, even if you're using the scheme that allows you to insure the deposit and hold on to the deposit, have it set aside in a different bank account. That's good cash flow management, just simple stuff. In this video, that question of what if the market crashes and will the banks repossess me? Yeah, they can. It's going to happen either because you can't pay your bills, lack of cash, or you've breached your covenant. So you've agreed, say, I don't know, 75% loan to value. The market has crashed, the property has gone down in value, and now your lending is a higher percentage than 75%. And the bank's like, I need you to pay it back. I need you to pay it back in 30 days, or we're going to pull lending. And that starts that whole process. So you need to be fluid and flexible in making sure that you're not always up against your loan to value, and also you've got really good cash flow management policies in place, whether you've got extra businesses like flipping, deal packaging, whether you've got good predictions, whether you've got setting money aside every month, and whether you've got really strong systems so that your customers always pay you like your tenants. So the real question is not what if the banks are repossessing me in a difficult economy, is it? The real question is, how do I own this? How do I make sure I take the steps in advance? When the risk arrives, I sit and go, ow, but I've got this. So it's you owning the responsibility, changing the question to what can I do now to set my property portfolio up well so that when difficult economic times come, I'm not at risk. So it's about their fault, your responsibility. You own this. Property's a big old ship. She takes ages to turn. So you have to do the kind of nimble thinking well in advance, which makes sense, doesn't it? It totally makes sense. I want to wish you huge good luck, and I want to remind you to have a hop on over to my website. It is a fabulously well put together website. I spent a lot of time putting this website together for you and all the education within it. Everything's immediately download, checklist packs, 60-day academies, webinars, it's all there to help you succeed. So hop on over and have a good look. It's called propertycompany.co.uk. It's really, really useful for kind of confidence building and motivation as well as knowledge. And of course, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel and enjoy all the videos. I've got tons planned for you. I have sat down, I've got such an exciting plan for all the videos for you to push you forward in property. But the most important of all is this whole message from this video. You own the responsibility. So what do I do now to make sure I'm safe in the future? And then jump in, because the water is brilliant. You want to make a shed load of cash relatively fast? That's a buy to sell strategy. Download my buy to sell pack, written for you guys. Everything I know popped into there for you.